Question 1. This, guys, is paper 2H from January 2023. Okay, we have dividing mixed numbers. First thing, change them into an improper fraction. So we do 7 times 3 is 21, plus 5 is 26. So it's 26 over 7, divided by 8 times 1 is 8, plus 5 is 13 over 8. And to divide fractions, we keep the first one, change the sign, and flip the second one. You may have learned keep, change, flip, keep, change, flip, and then we multiply these out. Now you could multiply the top and the bottom, guys, top times the top, bottom times the bottom using your calculator, but I actually see nicely 13 goes into 13 once and into 26 twice, so I can divide. And then I just have 2 times 8 is 16, 7 times 1 is 7. How many times does 7 go into 16? Well, it goes in twice with a remainder 2 and 2/7. So that's the answer. That's what they wanted. We have shown it. Okay, question 2. Change a speed of 90 kilometers per hour to a speed in meters per second. Show you're working clearly. Okay, guys, 90 kilometers is equal to 90,000 meters, because 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. And 1 hour is equal to 3,600 seconds, because 60 minutes times 60 seconds, 60 times 60 is 3,600. Therefore, 90 kilometers per hour is actually equal to 90,000 meters per 3,600 seconds. But we want it in just meters per 1 second. So I do 90,000 divided by 3,600. 90,000 divided by 3,600 is 25. So this is 25, and I'm going to say here, which is equal to 25 meters per second. So the answer is 25. Okay, question 3. So we have Venn diagrams. We have the set A is even numbers, and A intersection B is this. So guys, well, we have to complete the Venn diagram, but straight away, if you can put something and put it in. So 12, 16, 20, 12, 16, 20. So I can put those numbers in straight away. Then it says A union B not is 17, 19. So that means what's A union B, which is all of this or all of this, everything together, but not that, because of this means not that, it's 17 and 19. So I can put the 17 and the 19 outside. And then A is even numbers. So I need the rest of the even numbers must go here. So I have 14. I have 12, 14, 16, 18. Oh, that's it. 14 and 18. And then the rest of the numbers, whatever's left, has to go here. So we have 11, we have 13, and we have 15, and that's it. Okay, that's question 3. Question 4. The diagram shows rectangle ABCD. Work out the perimeter of the rectangle. So the perimeter, guys, is just this plus this plus this plus this. This is obviously 24 because these are the same length, and these are the same length, which is going to help me find x, because I need to find x. So 5x minus 1 equals 3x plus 7.4. They're equal because it's a rectangle. Opposite sides are equal. Now we need to solve this equation. I'll subtract, bring the x's to the left. So subtract the 3x, and the numbers to the right, I'll add the 1. 5x minus 3x is 2x. 7.4 plus 1 is 8.4. X is equal to 4.2. because I divide by 2. Therefore, 5x minus 1 is equal to 5 times 4.2 minus 1. And 5 times 4.2 is actually 21, minus 1 is 20. So that means this side is 20, and this side is 20. So the perimeter is equal to 20 plus 20 plus 24 plus 24. Just add up the four sides, and that is 88 centimeters. Okay, that's question 4. Question 5. The weight of a cake is 2.75 kg. Corrected 2 decimal places. Write down a lower bound. Right, guys, I like to write out the number on a number line. So 2.75. The next number that you would round to would be 2.76, and the lower bound, the number you would round down to, the next one, would be 2.74. Now these are not the lower and upper bound. The lower and upper bound are halfway between these two. So it's not halfway. This is 2.745, and this is 2.755. The lower bound is therefore 2.745, and this guy wants the upper bound is 2.755. Okay. Then it says Penny has worked out this on her calculator. Her answer is this. Penny's answer is not sensible. By rounding each number to one significant figure, work out a suitable estimate to show that her answer is not sensible. Okay, so obviously, guys, you could do this on your calculator, but he wants you to round this. Well, he says that you have to round to one each number to one significant figure. So 81.3 to one significant figure is 80. 59.2 to one significant figure is 60. And 1.9 to one significant figure is 2. So that's 2 squared. So this is actually equal to 80 times 60 is, well, it's 4,800. You can actually do that bit on your calculator. And 2 squared is 4. And 4,800 over 4 is 1,200. 48 divided by 4 is 12. So clearly her answer is not sensible because our answer is 1,200. So that's all you have to do. Okay, that's question 5. Question 6. Points A and B are on a coordinate grid. Coordinates of A are this, the coordinates of B are this. The midpoint of AB is that. Is this, find the value of J and K. Okay, so midpoint, guys, the midpoint formula, let's just write it here. Midpoint is equal to x1 plus x2 over 2, comma y1 plus y2 over 2, close brackets. X1 is this, so it's 6 plus x2 is 17 over 2, comma 4 plus j over 15. And this is equal to k comma 15. Now, that means that k is equal to this. So k has to equal 6 plus 17 over 2, which is 23 over 2, which is actually 11.5. And 4 plus j over 15 must equal 15, because basically this equals this and this equals this, because they're just coordinates. So now I can multiply across. Sorry guys, I just feel I've done something. I've just made a mistake. Sorry, why did I do over 15? That was silly. It's over 2. Guys, obviously that was a typo. 2. So 4 plus j over 2 is equal to 15, which means 4 plus j is equal to 30. And then j is equal to 26. So j is equal to 26. Okay, hope that makes sense, guys. Let's go. Question 7. Solve the simultaneous equation. Show you're working clearly. So guys, your calculator can do this in one go. I often advise, well, I do advise always students to get the answer. You can get the answer on your calculator. 2 unknowns. The first one is 5, 4 minus 2. 5, 4 minus 2. And the second one is 2 minus 1, 4.4. So 1x is 6 over 5 and 1x is minus 2. So if 6 over 5 and y is minus 2. Y is minus 2. X is 6 over 5 or 1.2, whichever way you want to put it. Okay, so we have to show we're working clearly. We have to find that answer. So I put the answer, guys, but you have to, that's just to check that I'm right. So 5x plus 4y equals minus 2. I want to get either the x is the same or the y is the same. To get the y is the same, I think that's the easiest one to do because I just need to multiply one equation. I'm going to multiply this by 4, this equation. 2x times 4 is 8x. Y times 4 is 4y. And 4.4 times 4 is 17.6. You can use your calculator for that. Okay, line underneath. Because the signs are different, I'm going to add. Same signs subtract, so different signs add. We're going to add. This is 13x equals minus 2 plus 17.6 is 15.6. X is equal to 15.6 over 13, which is, guess what? 15.6 over 13 is 6 over 5 or 1.2, which I was expecting. Okay, x is 1.2. Let's sub this back into equation 2. So I have 2 times 1.2 minus y equals 4.4. So I've subbed it into this equation here. 2 times x, but x is 1.2. So this is 2.4 minus y equals 4.4 minus y equals 4.4 minus 2.4, which is 2, and then multiply across by minus 1. Y is equal to negative 2, which is what I expected. Okay, that's question 7, guys. Let's go to question 8. Matteo is going to invest 5,000 Swiss francs for 2 years. He can do it this in Bank G with 1.6% compound interest or 2.9% interest added after 2 years. The total amount of interest he would receive at the end of 2 years from Bank G is more than the amount he would receive from Bank H. How much more? Okay, so we just have to do the two banks, guys. So Bank G, we just do 5,000. And the compound interest means we multiply by 1.016. That's our 1.6%. And we do to the power of 2 because it's 2 years. 2 years, so it's to the power of 2. So I just do 5,000 times 1.016 squared. And that gives me 5161.28. 5161.28. Okay, then we do Bank H. Bank H, this isn't compound interest, guys. This is just 2.9%. So that means he puts in 5,000 and then he'll get 2.9%. So I'm just going to get 2.9% of this. So this times 0.029 to get my 2%. That'll get me 2.9%. 5,000 times 0.029 which is 145. This is 145. So in total, sorry, so this is the interest. So I actually don't want the total, because he says the amount of interest is more than the amount of interest. So his interest is 145. This guy's interest is how much extra you make. So the interest is equal to, this guy's interest is 5161.28 minus the 5,000, just to see how much he made. He made 161.28. So this is obviously more than this. How much more? Well, I just have to do 161.28 minus 145, and that gives me 16.28 dollars, and our Swiss francs. That's it, 16.28. Okay, question 9. Write down the value of this. This is easy, guys. It's 1. Anything to the power of 0 equals 1. Simplify this. All right, I have to do 3 cubed. 3 cubed is 27. So this is 27. A squared cubed is a to the power of 6, because I multiply the powers. And b to the 4 cubed is b to the power of 12. Again, I multiply the powers. So that's it. Next one, factorize fully. I need common factors. So the numbers first. What's common in 14 and 21? Well, it's 7. Hang on. Which letters are common? So I have an x squared here and an x cubed here, which means I can take out an x squared, because this is x times x, this is x times x times x. So there's at least an x times x in both. And similarly, I can take out the y squared, because he has a y squared and he has y to the 4. So that's divisible by y squared. Then this times what gives me this? Well, times 2 to give me the 14. The x squared is already there, and I need to multiply by y squared to get the y to the 4. Similarly here, 7 times 3 will give me the 21. And the y squared is already there, but I need to multiply by x to give me x cubed. X squared times x gives me x cubed, and that's it. That's the answer. Part D, the diagram shows a straight line. Write down the equation of this line. Right, y equals mx plus c, guys. Y equals, what is the gradient? The gradient is the change in y over the change in x, which is 2, but it's going down, so it's minus 2. It goes down 2 for every 1 across, so it's minus 2x plus c, which is the y-intercept, plus 4. So y equals minus 2x plus 4. Question 10. Isosceles triangle base 24. The perimeter of this triangle is 54. Work out the area. Okay, that's a nice question, guys. It's 5 marks, so we have some work to do. Okay, to get the area, I need base times height. So I need to find this height. This is 24. If this is 24, then there must be, and the perimeter is 54, there must be 30 left to make up these two sides. And because it's isosceles, they have to be 15 each. Think about it. They have to be the same, and they have to add up to 30, so 15 each. So 15 plus 15 plus 24, that gives me the 54. Okay, now I'm just going to look at this triangle here. This one, this triangle here. It's a right angle triangle. So I'm thinking Pythagoras' theorem. That green length is 12 because it's half of this 24. So I can use that 12 and that 15 to get me the height, which we'll call h. So Pythagoras' theorem, h squared is equal to 12, sorry, that's not true. H squared plus 12 squared equals 15 squared. 15 squared is the big one, the hypotenuse, so it's on its own. H squared, let's multiply that. H squared plus 144 equals 225. And then h squared is equal to 225 minus this is 81. You can use your calculator, and h is the square root of 81, which is 9. So now I have h, the area is equal to a half base times height, which is a half. The base is 24, the height is 9, and I'm left with 12 times 9. Again, use your calculator. This is 108. So the area is 108 centimeters squared. Okay, question 11. Here are 6 graphs. Complete the table below with the letter that could represent each given equation. So there's a few graphs you kind of need to know generally what they look like. So this is a negative quadratic. This is a positive quadratic. This is a positive cubic. This is a negative cubic. And then this is the well, this is a negative reciprocal function, and this is the reciprocal function. And by reciprocal, I mean like 1 over x or 2 over x or something like this. Okay, so my reciprocal is one of these two, but it's the negative one, so it has to be b, because that's negative. This one is the negative one. Okay, this one is my negative quadratic, my sad face, because it's minus x squared. So that one has to be this one. This is the sad face, A. And one of these is a cubic. This is my positive cubic. This is my negative cubic. So it has to be F. So it's B, A, F. Okay, question 12. Cumulative frequency graph. 60 people. It's how long 60 people took to shop in a market. Use the graph to find an estimate for the median time people took to shop in the market. Okay, so the 60 people, we half 60, and which is 30. We go across to the line, and we go down. There. So we have 41, 42, 43, 44. The median is 44. So our median is 44 minutes. Use the graph to find an estimate for the number of people who took longer than 55 minutes. Okay, so 55, we go to 55 here. We go up, and that's kind of like halfway between those two, I would say. Go across. Okay, well, these are going up in, guys. These are going up in ones anyway, so I guess we'll just round to the nearest one. Okay, let's say that's 59. So if that's 59, the question is, use the graph to estimate how many took longer than 55 minutes. If that's 55, then what's left to get to 60? Well, the answer is 11, because there's 11 people between 60 and 59. So my answer is 11. Okay. Part C. Use the graph to complete this frequency table. Okay, so this is 2 marks, guys. Between 20 and... So 30, let's go to the end here. 30, I'll go to 30 here. Now if I go up from 30, I get 15 people. So that means this plus something must be 15. That's 8, so this has to be 7, because the cumulative frequencies when I add them all together. So this has to add up to 15. Now similarly, I'll go to 40. 40 here is 25. So the next one has to add up to 25. We're on 15. This is going to have to be 10. Then I'll go to 50. Do the same thing. Go up to this. They're all hitting very nicely. That's 40. I may as well do the rest while I'm here, guys. This is 55. Okay, so this is 40 and 55. So these need to add up to 40. So I have 15 here, because now 25, 30, 25, 35, 40. So these all add up to 40. This is 55, so I need another 15 to get me to 55. And finally, there's 60 people, so I need 5 more to get to 60. So just make sure you understand how that works, guys. Yeah, when you add each of these up, like the cumulative frequency, you'll get 3, then 8, then 15, then 25, then 40, then 55, then 60. This is what I got from the graph, and I kind of worked backwards to get these. Anyway, don't put these in. Okay, next one, question 13. Okay, a few ways you could do this, guys. My preferred is, I always say, to remove a denominator, you multiply across by that denominator. So I want to multiply across by 4. But there's also a 5 denominator, so I want to multiply across by 5. So what I can actually do is just multiply across by 20. If I multiply across by 20, it'll remove my 4 and my 5. But just be careful how you do it. So I'm going to multiply each of these terms. And remember, this thing is a term. And this is 20 times 4.3. So I multiply this by 20, this by 20, and this by 20. Okay, now this nicely gives me, and this is why I chose 20, 20 divided by 4 is 5. So this gives me 5 times x plus 3 minus 20 divided by 5 is 4. So this gives me 4 times 7 minus x. And 20 times 4.3, let's use our calculator, guys. 20 times 4.3 is 86. So this is 86. Multiply out 5x plus 15 minus 28. 4 times 7 is 28. Plus 4x equals 86. 5x plus 4x is 9x. 15 minus 28 is minus 13. 9x equals 86 plus 13 is 99. And then x is 99 divided by 9, which is 11. So here we have question 13, x equals 11. Okay, question 14. We have ABCD are points in a circle. EBF is tangent. Work out the size of DCB. Okay, so he wants this angle here. Okay, so it's only one mark, guys. I can just write down the answer. The answer is 140. It's because these two angles add up to 180. They're opposite angles in a cyclic quadrilateral, which is a quadrilateral on a circle. So, well, that's actually part 2 here. I need to write that down. The reason. Opposite angles in a cyclic quadrilateral add up to 180 degrees. That's the reason. Then work out the size of angle ADO. Okay, ADO. So he wants this angle here. Okay, that, guys, is not particularly easy. Okay, I'm going to call this angle X. Okay, we have 40. One angle I can put in, guys, is this. This is 80. Now, how do I know it's 80? Well, angles at the center are double angle at the circumference. So if we're coming from the same place, from D and B, this angle is double that, so that's 80. Which means this kind of bigger one, all the way around here, is 280. So this angle here is 280, because 280 plus 80 equals 360, the full circle. Okay, nearly done. This then, this angle here is equal to, because this is a tangent and a radius, this is a right angle here, which means this has to be 24, because 24 plus 66 gives me 90. Okay, and this leaves me with the fact, guys, that x plus 40 plus 24 plus 280 has to equal 360. That is because this is a quadrilateral in itself, this thing. It's got 4 sides, and the angles inside a quadrilateral add up to 360. So I'm just going to move that here. We're going to solve for x. So x plus, let's just add these together, that'd be 320, 344 equals 360, which means x is 16 degrees. X is 16 degrees. Okay, question 15. Here we have numbers of runs scored by last week by 11 members of cricket team A. The interquartile range of the numbers of runs scored last week by 11 members of cricket team B was 42. Using a suitable calculation, write down one comparison between the number of runs scored by the members of cricket team A with the members of cricket team B. Okay, so guys, we have to, the only thing I know about team B is their interquartile range. So I have to find the interquartile range of this. It's the only way to do it. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 numbers. That means the median has to be the 6th number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How do I know? Well, there's 5 to the left and there's 5 to the right. It's bang in the middle. You can half 11 and then round up to get the 6th number. Okay, similarly, so that's Q2. Similarly, Q1 has to be 4 because it's like the median of what's left of Q2, and Q3 is the median of what's right of Q2. So that's Q1 and that's Q3. So the interquartile range, IQR, is equal to 34 minus 30 is equal to 4. Now he says, using a suitable calculation, write down one comparison between the number of runs scored. So their interquartile range was 4. Sorry, what am I doing? It's 34 minus 4. I was wondering, guys. 34 minus 4, which is 30. Okay, so their interquartile range was 30, and their interquartile range was 42. So we could say that as one comparison, because the interquartile range helps us with how spread out the data is, I can say the interquartile range for team team A was less than team B. The interquartile range for team A was less than that for team B, meaning the number of runs for team A was less spread out or more consistent. Less spread out. So he wants to know that the interquartile range was less, and he wants to know what that means. It means that the data is less spread out. If the interquartile range is smaller, we've less spread. Okay, that's it. Question 16. Use algebra to show this. Okay, so guys, I like these questions because there's a way to do it that we know, and you just have to, the questions are always the same. So x is equal to 0.4383838 dot dot dot. I then do 10x, multiply this by 10, and I get 4.383838 dot dot dot. Then I multiply by 10 again, and I get 43.83838 dot dot dot. Now my goal is to get the decimal numbers the same. Now this one starts with 4, this one starts with 3, and this one starts with 8, so they're still not the same. So I multiply by 10 again. Now I get 438.3838, etc. Okay, now this guy's decimals are the same as this guy's decimals here. So I can then go, once I see this, I'll do 1000x minus 10x. And 1000x minus 10x is 438 minus 4. Because what happens is the decimals cancel each other out. So 1000x minus 10x is 990x. And 438 minus 4 is 434. And then finally, x is equal to 434 divided by 990. You can use your calculator, guys, but I bet you can guess what this is going to be. If you divide both sides, above and below, by 2, this divided by 2 is 217, and this divided by 2 is 495. That is question 16. Question 17. Given that 8 root m plus root 49m minus root 9m is this, k is an integer, m is a prime number, work out the value of k. Right, guys, this is only 1 mark. It looks actually quite tricky, but there's a fairly easy way to do it. I still think 1 mark's a bit harsh, but root 49m can be written as 7 root m, because you can take, it's like root 49 times root m, and root 49 is 7. Similarly, this can be written as 3 root m. And we just have to now add these together. 8 plus 7 is 15. 15 minus 3 is 12. So it's just 12 root m. K is equal to 12. Well, k is equal to 12. That's it. Okay, show that this can be written as this. So this is what I would call a fairly typical rationalize the denominator question. So we are going to multiply the top and the bottom by 1 plus root 2, the conjugate of the bottom, which is the, whatever sign that is, the other sign. So it's 1 plus root 2 over 1 plus root 2. Put these in a bracket. Okay. Multiply them out, we get 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times root 2 is plus 5 root 2. Minus root 18 times 1 is minus root 18. And minus root 18 times root 2 is minus root 36, because 18 times 2 is 36. This is all over. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times root 2 is plus root 2. Root 2 times 1 is minus root 2. And root 2 times root 2 is minus 2. So we're left with 5 plus 5 root 2. Now guys, this is kind of why they gave us that part in part A, is to help us with this. Root 18 I can write as minus root 9 times root 2, because 9 times 2 is 18, and root 36 is just 6. So I can do this all over. These two cancel here, plus root 2 minus root 2, and I'm left with 1 minus 2, which is minus 1. Now 5 minus 6 is obviously minus 1, and then I have 5 root 2 plus 3 root 2, 5 root 2 minus 3 root 2, because root 9 is 3. So 5 root 2 Well, guys, let's keep this step because it's difficult. 5 root 2 minus 3 root 2 all over minus 1. And this is equal to minus 1 plus 2 root 2 all over minus 1. And he doesn't want a minus 1 at the bottom, so I'm going to multiply above and below by negative 1, which basically means change these two signs. This is 1 minus 2 root 2. So it's 1 minus 2 root 2. And obviously then A is 1 and B is negative 2. Okay, that's question 17. Question 18. Here we have weights of parcels that Pedro delivers on Monday, and we have frequencies. So we have to draw a histogram. Now guys, if you remember, in a histogram, the frequency is the area. So the area is the frequency. So frequency, F, let me write this here. F is equal to the class width, call it class width, which is 2 and 1 and 3, it's the length of this, class width times the frequency density, which means the frequency density is equal to the frequency divided by the class width. Okay, so that's important. That's how we're going to find the frequency density. And I'm actually going to put here the frequency density. So it's 12 divided by 2, because 12 divided by 2 is the width of this. The width of this is 2. Let me just write it. Let me write it here, guys. The width of this is 2. The width of this is 1. The width of this is 3. The width of this is 3. The width of this is 5. Now make sure you understand where I got those numbers. Basically 14 minus 9 is 5. 9 minus 6 is 3. Okay, so I just do 12 divided by 2 is 6. 7 divided by 1 is 7. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 12 divided by 3 is 4. And 9 divided by 5 is 1.8. Okay, so now what I do is I go to this one. So 0 to 2, and I'm going to go up to 6. So 0 to 2 is my bar, and I'm going to go up to 6, join it across. That's my first bar. Then 2 to 3 is 7. 3 is here. I'm going to go up to 7, go across, and down. That's my next bar. Then 3 to 6, which is to here, goes to 5. So I go to here and then across. 6 to 9, 9 is here. 6 to 9 goes to 4, so I need to stop at 4, draw across, and then finally 9 to 14, which will be all the way over here, goes to 1.8. So that's 1, 1.2, 1.4, 1.6, 1.8 is like there, and then this goes across. Okay, so that is my histogram. Now you can color it in, guys, if you want, although you don't have to. Let's just do this. Okay, that's my histogram. Great coloring. Okay, part B. He says, one of the parcels that Pedro delivered on Monday is chosen at random. Using this information in the table, find an estimate for the probability that the parcel weighs more than 7. Okay, so if it's more than 7, guys, I need to find, well, in total, how many are there? There are, well, we can just add up the total. So in total, there's 19, 19, 29, 34, 44, 46, 55. So in total, there's 55. Total equals 55. More than 7, guys. So if it's more than 7, I'm going to go to 7, and I'm going to go here. So now I'm looking at this area, this green area, plus this green area. Now I'm just going to color this in, guys. Oh, let's do this. So I need to find this area plus this area. So this is 7 to 9, so it's 2 times 4. So 2 times 4 is equal to 8. And this area, I already know it's 9. So it's 8 plus 9, 8 plus 9 over the total, which is 55. So that is 17 over 55. Okay. Question 19. A and B are two similar vases. The vases are such that the surface area of B is equal to this times the surface area of A. Okay, guys, that tells me, well, if you remember, if you've ever seen me do these questions, guys, these are similar shapes. I do scale factor, area factor, and volume factor. And once you have one of these, you can get the other two. Now they give us, and this is usually the harder question, they give us the area factor because that's surface area. And it's this one, B is obviously smaller than A, so that's why we multiply by 25 over 64. But that means the area factor is 25 over 64. Now once we have the area factor, we can get the scale factor by getting the square root. So the square root of this, you can use your calculator if you want, but it's 5 over 8, because square root of 25 is 5, square root of 64 is 8. And then we can get the volume factor by cubing this. So 5 cubed is 125, and 8 cubed is, again, you can use your calculator, guys, but it's 2 to the power of 9, which is 512. Okay, now we have the scale factor, area factor, and volume factor. But still not simple. So it says the volume of vase A minus the volume of vase B is equal to this. Calculate the volume of vase B. Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call the volume of this volume of A is equal to, well, I could call it V. Let's just call it X. Volume of A is X. Okay, now that means, according to this equation, the volume of A is X and the volume of B is 125. This guy's V. Okay, this is why I didn't choose V. This guy's V is 125 over 512. X. It's a fraction of X, and this is the fraction of X because this is the volume factor. Okay, now I can say volume of vase A is X minus the volume of vase B, which is this, 125 over 512 X. And this equals 541.8. And now we can just solve for X. So a number of ways we can do this, guys. This is like 1x minus 125 over 512x. You could do this with the calculator, guys, by just going 1 minus, and then obviously forgetting about the x. 1 minus 125 over 512 is 387 over 512. So this is 387 over 512. X, that's like a common denominator, and this is equal to 541.8. and then X is equal to, I'm just going to multiply by 512 multiply across times this 541.8, and then divide by 387, and then X is equal to, let's do this, 512 times 541.8 divided by 387, and we have 716.8. 8. Now bear in mind, guys, that's the volume of A. They've asked us for the volume of vase B. So how do I get the volume of vase B? Well, I have to get 125 over 512x. Now, true, you could have, well, no, let's just do it this way. So if that's x, I can then say, therefore, volume of vase B is 716.8 x times the 125 over 512, and this is equal to this times 125 over 512, which is exactly 175, and that is correct. So the volume of vase B is 175 centimeters cubed. Okay, question 20. Okay, solve the simultaneous equations, guys. These are hard, but at least this one's fairly straightforward. At least I know what to do. I'm going to sub this. This is my y. I'm going to sub this in there instead of y. So I have x squared plus, instead of y, I'm going to do 7 minus 2x squared equals 34. So now I have an equation with just x's in it. This gives me x squared plus this thing, guys, if you want to do it at the side, 7 minus 2x times 7 minus 2x is equal to 7 times 7 is 49, 7 times minus 2x minus 14x, minus 2x times 7 minus 14x, and minus 2x times minus 2x is plus, be careful, 4x. So we're left with 49 minus 28x, 14 minus 14, and then, sorry guys, that's squared, plus 4x squared. Okay, it's positive, so I can just put this in without the bracket. 49 minus 28x plus 4x squared equals 34. Okay, add the x squareds, 5x squared. X squared plus 4x squared is 5x squared. Minus 28x is here, and I'm going to do 49 minus 34 is 15. So this gives me plus 15 plus 15 equals 0. Okay, now I need to factorize this, guys. Okay, factorize it. So I'm going to do 5 times, you can use your calculator, guys, to find the solutions and kind of work backwards if you want, but let's do it this proper way. I'm going to do 5 times 15 is 75. So I like to do, guys, A times C is equal to 75. And I need factors of 75 that will give me minus 28. Now the factors are minus 25 times minus 3. Because obviously 25 times 3 is 75, and my minus will give me my minus 28. Okay, so that means I write here, this again, guys, if you have another way of doing this, no problem. I do minus 25x minus 3x plus 15 equals 0. Take the 5x out of this, and I'm left with x minus 5. Take the minus 3 out of this, and I'm left with x minus 5, because minus times minus will give me the plus 15 equals 0, and the factors are therefore 5x minus 3 brackets x minus 5 equals 0. Solve it by saying 5x minus 3 equals 0, or x minus 5 equals 0. Add 3 to both sides, divide by 5, we get, let's do 3 over 5, which is 0.6, and here x equals 5. When x is 0.5, y is equal to this, 7 minus 2 times 0.5, 7 minus, 2 times 0.6, Now do that on your calculator, guys, if you want. 2 times 0.6 is 1.2. 7 minus 1.2 is 5.8. Similarly here, y is equal to 7 minus 2 times 5, which is 7 minus 10, or -3. So I'm left with two solutions. This one, which is x equals 0.6 and y equals 5.8. And then here, just make sure, guys, they're separated by something. Put them in a box if you want. But this x goes with this y, and this x equals 5, goes with this y equals -3. And that's question 20. Okay, question 21. Given that the surface area of a sphere is 49 pi centimeters squared, find the volume of the sphere. Okay, so in your formula sheet, guys, we've got both of these. We've got the surface area of a sphere, which is 4 pi r squared, and we've got the volume of a sphere, which is 4 over 3 pi r cubed. These are in the formula sheet, thankfully. So they give us the surface area. So let's use that one first. 4 pi r squared is equal to 49 pi. Now obviously the only thing I don't know here is the radius, so I can use this to find the radius. I can divide both sides by pi and then divide both sides by 4, 49 over 4, and then get the square root of both sides. Square root of 49 over 4, square root of 49 over 4. 7 over 2, okay, that's nice, that's 3.5. 3.5. Now I have the radius. I can use the volume formula. So the volume is 4 over 3 pi r cubed, and r we know is 3.5. So 3.5 cubed, and this is equal to, and he says nearest integer, so it's 4 over 3 times pi times 3.5 cubed is this 179.59. 179.59, which rounds to the nearest integer 180, as 180 centimeters cubed. Okay, that was a nice question. Question 22. Solve the inequality showing clear algebraic working. Okay, so guys, I have 6x squared plus 37x minus 35. I'm going to subtract the 35, is less than or equal to 0. Okay, first things first, guys. With the calculator, you can get the answer. Now, you won't get any marks if you don't show working, but let's put in the answer to begin with. So, sorry, I should maybe do that again. We start by going menu, then we go to inequality here, then go to degree 2, go to the fourth one, because that's what my one looks like, it's less than or equal. This is 6, this is 37, and this is minus 35. Press enter. Now we get a solution. X is greater or equal to minus 7. X is greater or equal to minus 7, and x is less than or equal to 5 over 6. Okay, now the clear algebraic working we need to show is the factors. We need to factorize this. Now this again gives us a hint of what the factors are going to be. So if you want to kind of work backwards from this, you can go, okay, x minus 7, so I'm going to say imagine x equals minus 7, so x plus 7 equals 0. So one of the factors is x plus 7. Then another factor is x equals, another solution, and this would be for the equation obviously, is x equals 5 over 6, multiply across, 6x equals 5, 6x minus 5 equals 0. So these are the factors. This is a factor, 6x minus 5 is less than or equal to 0. Now, if you, I'm actually going to delete this, guys, but if you have this factorized, and we want to find where is this less than or equal to 0, well, we can then go x has to be greater or equal to -7, or x is less than or equal to 5 over 6, which is the answer they gave us. Now, if you really want to understand, guys, why this is the case, why you put the arrows in this direction, it is because if you were to draw this quadratic, if you were to draw y equals, so consider y equals 6x squared plus 37x minus 35. The x-intercepts would be -7 and 5 over 6, because those are the factors. And what would happen is it's a positive quadratic, so the quadratic would come down like this, turn there and go up like this. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's just fix that. Okay, that's my quadratic. This is 5 over 6, and this is -7. Where is this less than or equal to 0? Well, it's less than or equal to 0 here, down here, and that is greater than, let me draw that again, greater than -7 and less than 5 over 6. Now, you don't have to draw this graph, but that's where it comes from. That is enough working. Okay, let's go to question 23. Okay, the diagram shows a solid prism. Okay, this is a prism. Good. We're given all this information, which is explained there. And it says calculate the angle that AJ makes with the base of the prism. Okay, this, guys, is definitely a very difficult question, right? AJ. So this is AJ from A to J. And we want the angle it makes with the base of the prism. So what you have to do is you have to go along the space here, but you have to go directly under, you have to go back under J, like so. Okay, now this is obviously exactly halfway between the two. The angle that we're looking for is this angle here. That's the angle that AJ makes with the base. Okay, and bear in mind that this is now a right angle here. That's a right angle. We're in 3 dimensions. Okay, to find that angle, guys, I need 2 sides in this red triangle. The 2 kind of probably obvious sides that I'm going to use is this one here, and this one here. Let's call this h for little h for height, and let's just call this one, I don't know, let's call it A for adjacent. Or actually, guys, I don't want to use, well, h for height, and let's just call this y for some other letter. Okay, now how are we going to find h or y? Let's start with h. So this 120 degrees is obviously important. Because it's a prism, if that's 120 degrees, then this is also 120 degrees here. So this is 120 degrees, this is 120 degrees, and then this angle here at the back would be 120 degrees because it's the same thing. Now that means if I was to join this, I'm going to join this up here. This full thing, a bit like if I put this blue line across like that. Same thing. This angle here has to be, this angle has to be 90 plus 30. This has to be a 30-degree angle, because 90, because this would be obviously 90, and 90 plus 30 gives me the 120. So this would be 30, this would be 30. Okay, I'm not too bothered about here, but this is important, this side. Okay, now once I have this 30, I can actually find a few different things. I could find this length here. Now I'm running out of letters, guys, but let's go down to, let's just go with A, B, and C. I'm going to call this length here A, and I'm going to call this length, no, actually, sorry guys, I have a letter for this. This is actually X, because this blue length here is half, I'm just going to delete this. This blue length is half of this thing, because this red line was drawn right through the center, in the middle of this line. So that length is X. Okay, so this length is X, and I'm going to call this length here, let's just go with P. I'll call this length P, which is the height. Okay, this is the height here. Let's call that P. Why P? Why not? Okay, so I know the hypotenuse, so I can actually find X and I can find P using SOHCAHTOA. Let's do that up here. So I'm going to go do P first. The sine of 30 degrees is equal to opposite, which is P, over 8. So P is equal to 8 sine 30. P is equal to 8 sine 30. Let's do it here. Menu 1, 8 times sine 30, close bracket, 4. So P is equal to 4. Okay, nice. I can also find X. I'm going to use cos. Cos 30 is equal to adjacent X over hypotenuse 8. So similarly, X is 8 cos 30, multiply across. X is equal to, what is 8 times cos 30, 4 root 3. Let's just put it as a decimal, guys. 6.928. So this is 6.928. Okay, so now I have X and I have P. So the height, okay, this is good. My height is going to be, and I'm going to draw this triangle here, guys. This is my red triangle. This is my right angle here. This is my A, J, and let's just call this point here M. M for midpoint, so this is M. And this is Y, but I actually have H. H is equal to X, because this length here is X. So H is equal to, I'm going to write that over here. H is equal to X plus P. Because, guys, this length here is X too, because of this. Okay, so H is equal to X plus P, which is 4 plus 6.928, which is 10.928. So H is equal to 10.928. This length here is 10.928. And remember, I'm trying to find theta, which is this angle here. Okay, next thing I can find is Y. Right, I'm feeling good now, guys, because I can see the end to this horrible question. This is a right angle triangle here. This is, if you can imagine in 3D, that's a right angle triangle there, lying flat. So this is X here, because again it's halfway, that's 2X, so this is X, and this is 12, it's actually given here. And we know X at 6.928. So I'm going to draw this purple triangle. Let's just draw it here. this purple triangle. This is 6.928. This, that's a right angle sine, guys. This is 12, and we're trying to find this, which is ultimately y. And I can just use Pythagoras' theorem. Y squared equals 12 squared plus 6.928 squared. Y is the square root of all that. Let's just do it in one step. The square root of 12 squared plus 6.928 squared is 13.856. Okay, y is 13.856. Now I can put that here. This is y, it's 13. No, sorry, I'm wrong, guys. Be very careful. This is y here, 13.846. Why? Because look, y is am. This is my am. So that's y. And now I can say, I can get theta. It's the tan, it's the inverse tan of this over this, because tan theta, I'm just going to move down here, guys. Tan theta is equal to opposite, 10.928, over adjacent, 13.846. Theta is equal to the inverse tan of that. I really hope I'm right, guys. Inverse tan of 10.928. Note, guys, how I don't round a lot until the end. 13.846, close bracket, 38.28. Yes, that is correct. Nice. 38.28. Three significant figures, 38.3, and we're dealing with degrees as 38.3 degrees. Okay, difficult question, obviously, guys. 5 marks. There we go. Okay, question 24. Okay, we have the graph of a sine x plus b. Find the value of a and the value of b is 2 marks. Okay, guys, I like these questions. If you understand how a and b work, you'll be okay with this question. B is it's the middle, or what I call the I call it the equation of the principal axis. So what I mean by that is it's bang in the middle of the graph. So what's that value here? Well, it's 0.5, because it's halfway between this and this equation is actually y equals 0.5, but that value there is what is 0.5. So b is 0.5. I'm gonna write that in straight away. 0.5. If you're not sure, guys, you can actually do, because it's halfway between the top and the bottom, so you can do 3.5 plus minus 2.5 divided by 2. So you do the maximum plus the minimum divided by 2. And then a is the amplitude. So a is the height from this equation, this line, to the top of the wave. It's that height. And that height goes from 0.5 to 3.5. The value of that is 3, because that height is 3. It's also 3 to here, that length. Okay, so the a is 3. You could also do the maximum, 3.5, minus the minimum divided by 2 if you want, but this is absolutely fine. So a is equal to 3. Okay, question 25. The function f is this, where x is less than or equal to 0. This, guys, will become important at a later point. Express the inverse function f minus 1 in this form. Okay, so this is an inverse function question, but it's a difficult one because we have a quadratic, and to get the inverse of a quadratic, we have to complete the square. So let's just start off the normal way to get an inverse is we let y equal whatever this is, 3x squared minus 12x plus 7. Then we swap x and y, because that is what the inverse function is. X is equal to 3y squared minus 12y plus 7. Okay, and now we're going to complete the square for this. Okay, now what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to use the calculator. So this is my preferred way to complete the square. We go to equation, we go to polynomial, we go to degree 2 because it's a quadratic, and we put in 3, negative 12, and 7, like so. And we get an x1, a y1, and then a 2 and a negative 5. A 2 and a negative 5. That's where the min is. The min is at x is 2, y is negative 5. So the min is 2, negative 5. Now, we're going to use that to complete the square. The 3 stays as 3. Easy, this stays the same. Then we do y, and whatever this is, we do minus this. So we do minus 2. If this was negative 2, we do y plus 2, so the opposite sign of this. We then square it, and then we put minus 5 here. We keep the same sign. And if you multiply this out, you will see that you get this. Okay, then we're going to rearrange to get y. So we're going to add the 5. X plus 5 is equal to 3 times y minus 2 squared. Then I'm going to divide by 3. X plus 5 over 3 equals y minus 2 squared. Then I'm going to get the square root. Y minus 2 is equal to the square root of x plus 5 over 3. And then finally I'm going to add 2 to both sides. And by the way, guys, this is plus or minus the square root of this. So then y is going to be 2 plus or minus the square root of x plus 5 over 3. Now we're almost there, but do you remember I said this was important? Well, this is where it becomes important. The domain of f is this. X has to be less than or equal to 0. That means for f minus 1 of x, for the inverse function, y has to be less than or equal to 2. Because for the inverse function, the range becomes, the range is the domain of the normal function. It's the same. It's if x is less than or equal to 2, then y is less than or equal to 2, because remember we swapped the x's and the y's. So this thing has to be less than or equal to 2. And how can this be less than or equal to 2? Well, the only way is if f minus 1 of x is equal to 2 minus this, because if I add it, it will become greater than 2. So I need to do 2 minus the square root of x plus 5 over 3. And that is the answer. 2 minus root x plus 5 over 3. Okay, last question, guys. Question 26. Find the values of n such that this over this equals 1. Okay, so if this over this equals 1, the numerator has to equal 20 squared, because we need the same thing on the numerator and the denominator to get 1, or you could just multiply across. So let's start with that. We're going to say 10 to the power of 4n times 2 to the power of 3 times n squared minus 5n times 5 to the power of 2 times 1 minus 2n. And this has to equal 20 squared. Okay, now it's very difficult to, well, this appears like a very difficult question, but I can't multiply the 2 and the 10 because the powers are different. I can't multiply the 2 and the 5, the powers are different. There's nothing I can do here. I can't join these together. What I can do, however, is split everything up into its prime factors. So what I can do is I can say, well, 10 is 2 times 5. So 10, this is the same as 2 to the power of 4n times, well, let me put in an extra step, guys, just so we're super clear. This is 2 times 5 to the power of 4n times, this is 2 to the power of, well, I don't need to multiply it out yet, I might at some point. Let's just leave it like that for now. This is going to be 5 to the power of 2 times 1 minus 2n, that's fine. And this I'm going to break up into, so 20 is, in its prime factors, 2 times 5. Okay, now you could use your calculator to do that, guys, but I think that's easy. 2 times 5 is 20. Okay, now I'm going to go a bit further. I'm going to say, right, if 2 times 5, if this is 2 times 5 to the power of n, I can write this as 2 to the power of 4n times 5 to the power of 4n. That's because, remember, everything in the power gets raised to the power. For example, xy squared is x squared y squared. Okay, so that's okay. That's a rule. This I'm going to leave, again, 2 times 3 to the power of n squared minus 5n times 5 to the power of 2 times 1 minus 2n. And this is equal to 2 squared times 2 squared times 5 squared. Okay, now what's happening here, guys, is I can now join my 2's together. 2 to the power of this times 2 to the power of this is 2 to the power of this plus this. That's our well, that's our first rule of indices. So I can join my 2's together here. This is 2 to the power, so I have 2 to the power of 4n plus 3 times n squared minus 5n. And I'll join my 5's. 5 to the power of 4n plus, again I can add them, plus 2 times 1 minus 2n. And this is equal to 2 to the power of 4, add these two powers, times 5 squared. Okay, now to find the values of n, I need a situation where this has to equal 2, and this has to equal 4, because the power of 5, let me show you this here, this to the power of 5 has to equal this 2, otherwise there's no way these two sides could be equal, and this has to equal this. So let's write that down. We're going to have 4n plus 3 times n squared minus 5n has to equal 4, and 4n plus 2 times 1 minus 2n has to equal 2. Okay, let me move this here. Now we're going to solve this. Okay, I'm going to multiply it out now. 4n plus 3n squared minus 15n equals 4. Let's go 3n squared minus 15n plus 4n is minus 11n minus 4 equals 0. I'm going to factorize this, guys, into 3n and n. And this is going to be minus 12, sorry, not minus 12, minus 4 plus 1. Multiply that out, you'll see why, guys. You can use your calculator to help you. That's 3n squared minus 12n plus n minus 4. This equals 0. And here, here we have 4n plus 2 minus 4n equals 2. Okay, now you'll see, guys, this is of no use because essentially, look, 4n minus 4n is 0 and we just have 2 equals 2. Okay, fine. So the powers of 5 do equal each other because this actually is 5 squared. So now this has to just equal 4. We're left with 3n plus 1 equals 0, or n minus 4 equals 0, n equals 1 over 3, sorry, minus 1 over 3. That's what I get for skipping a step. Okay, let's just go down. 3n equals negative 1, n is equal to negative 1 over 3, and n is equal to 4. Okay, last question on the paper, guys. Obviously, that's like super hard. It's supposed to be super hard. Don't panic if you couldn't do it. But yeah, as always, if you want to get a 9, these are the type of questions that, yeah, you need to be able to do. Okay, that's it, guys. That's the paper, and I'll see you for the next video.